Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Lisa Joy Bateman. I'm the data owner for the three collections we will be discussing today. Presenting with me is Jackie McKim. The purpose today is to assure ease of submission to the discipline incidents, restraint exclusion incidents, and seclusion rooms collections. Our goal is for the data collection process to go smoothly, and we look forward to working with you to assure data reporting success. The slides from today's presentation and the collection manuals for all three collections are available on each collection page.
Data collected is considered confidential. Personally identifiable information is protected by FERPA, which is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. It's also protected by Oregon Identity Theft Protection Act, and in some cases, HIPAA, which is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And that is mainly through the transfer of records from one agency to another. Loss of protected data can have a financial impact to your district, your school, your ESD, and it can include fines and cost of remediation, and failure to comply can lead to legal problems, lawsuits, fines, etc. Keep in mind that state email is public, so you want to be careful when sending information to us. So for example, a student's name, date of birth, grade, etc. It's okay if you send us the SSID with zero personal information attached if you need to email something to us regarding that student or record. And next, I wanted to talk about the ODE Help Desk. If you're having technical difficulties with submitting your data, you can call us. You can call the help desk for technical assistance submitting your data, and they can see if your data has been submitted. And they can answer questions about access rights and permissions. However, the ODE Help Desk can't answer questions about our collections, discipline incidents, restraint and seclusion incidents, and seclusion rooms. We recommend that you always call a member of the data team first, and then if necessary, we will send you to the help desk. With that, I'll pass it back over to Lisa.
Thanks, Jackie. Let's talk about what's new for 23-24. So users must only log in as the school district ESD or EI-ECSC program to report records. Please do not use a school to report records. Select the school district ESD or EI-ECSC program in the applications list within Consolidated Collections. So you would go to Consolidated Collections and then School District. We're planning to add verification reports this year. Users will need to verify these reports for discipline incidents and restraint and exclusion incidents during the main collection window, which is May to July. Users will also need to verify these reports again during the review window, which is August to September. So with that, let's start with the discipline incidents collection. The purpose of the discipline incidents collection is to collect student level records about discipline incidents that result in exclusion. This includes in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, expulsion, or removal to an interim alternative educational setting. The collection is a student level collection. The collection counts all discipline incidents that result in removals, not all student behavioral referrals, write-ups, or infractions. All suspensions, in school and out of school, expulsions, and removals must be reported and are entered into the collection for all students, regardless of eligibility. So this means both general education and special education students. The data is collected and used for mandated federal reporting under ESSA, IDEA, and the Gun-Free Schools Act. The data is also used for persistently dangerous, unsafe schools determinations. We'll be going over these designations in more detail later. And finally, the data is used to guide district and agency improvement activities, including special education indicators concerning disproportionality for our students navigating disabilities. Data from the collection is published annually in the Oregon Statewide Report Card and the Oregon IDEA Federal Reports. District level data is published in the Discipline Media Files annually. So let's talk about what's new for 23-24. The error messages for validations that ensure the number of discipline days are valid for a discipline action type are being updated. So they will indicate the minimum value of discipline days as 0.5, a half day. These messages formerly indicated 1.0, a full day. So this is to align with administrative rule. There's also new status tracking verification reports that have been added, as well as clarifying guidance on which institutions to log in as, and they've been added to the manual. So the collection window is scheduled to open on May 30th. We had to push back the open date due to the addition of the status tracking verification reports. Districts will have until July 8th to submit their data, clear any errors, and verify their submission. The review window will open on August 15th and close on September 16th. This window is a chance for districts to make corrections, as well as review any audits. Please report information for all students who experienced disciplinary removal during the 23-24 school year. As mentioned previously, this includes all students, so students with and without disabilities. Please note that the collection is cumulative. So for this school year, you will report records for all incidents occurring from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. The collection is for a single school year. Students who receive disciplinary action that extends beyond the current school year are reported only in this collection year. If an action imposed extends into the next school year, please enter this record into this year's collection, including the total number of days, even if some of those days extend into the next school year. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie to discuss data entry fields.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm not going to talk about all of the fields to be reported. I just wanted to highlight a few. The discipline modifier code describes special circumstances that may have modified the disciplinary action taken. The dropdown allows you to choose 1, shortened weapons expulsion, or 2, removal by administrative law judge. And the shortened weapons expulsion is used when the duration of the weapons expulsion was modified in writing to be less than 1 year by the chief administering officer of the local education agency, which generally is the superintendent of the school district. And removal by administrative law judge is used when the removal was ordered by an administrative law judge or an ALJ because the child exhibits behavior that is substantially likely to result in injury to the child and others. For discipline days, any removal for more than half of a scheduled day is counted as a full day, and then the removal for half of a day or less is counted as a half day, or 0.5. So you can enter 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, and so on up to 280 days. Next, I wanted to talk about the violent criminal offense flag, which is only used when the action is expulsion and the incident led to an arrest for the following violent criminal offenses: assault, manufacture or delivery of a controlled substance, sexual crimes using force, threatened use of force or against an incapacitated person, arson, robbery, hate bias crime, coercion, or kidnapping. Next, to enter more than one action for an incident, you're going to use the save and add function after the first action has been entered. This is done by first entering the record as you would typically, utilizing the first discipline action type and the number of days. From there, use that save and add action button to add the second discipline action code and the corresponding number of days. You want to note that only editable fields are the discipline action date, the discipline action type, discipline days, and the interim education services flag. This is because it is the same incident. So with that, I'll pass it back to Lisa.
Thank you. So let's talk a bit about persistently dangerous, unsafe schools. Oregon considers a public elementary or secondary school persistently dangerous if they meet the threshold for expulsions having to do with weapons or those violent criminal offenses that Jackie just spoke about for 3 consecutive school years. There is a federal requirement pertaining to persistently dangerous schools and parent notification, and we wanted to assure that everyone was aware of the federal requirement. We're delighted to report again that there is currently no schools in Oregon that rise to this level. If this designation were to occur, districts would be notified directly by ODE. So next, we're going to cover the restraint and exclusion incidents collection. There are 2 state collections related to the reporting of restraint and exclusion data. The restraint and exclusion incidents collection is a student level collection, and the seclusion rooms collection is an institution level collection. So new for this year, we've modified the description for Business Rule 2536. If the seclusion flagged is marked yes, then we must mark yes or no for the seclusion room standards. And if the seclusion flagged is marked no, then it's okay to leave the standards blank. We also have a new validation for the seclusion room standards flag, just saying that it must be provided for seclusion incidents. And then conversely, if there's not a seclusion incident, that wouldn't need to be provided. There's new flags for serious bodily injury. We'll talk about those more in detail. New status tracking verification reports were added. And we've also added clarifying guidance to the manual on which institutions to log in on. The collection window is scheduled to open on May 30th. We had to push back the open date due to the addition of the status tracking verification reports. Districts will have until July 8th to submit their data, clear any errors, and verify their submission. The review window will open on August 15th and close on September 16th. This window is a chance for districts to make corrections, as well as to review their audits. Please report information for all students who are restrained or placed in seclusion during the 23-24 school year. This includes students with and without disabilities, just like the discipline incidents collection. Please note that the collection is cumulative. So for the school year, you will report records for all incidents occurring from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. So a reportable record is any incident that involves a restraint, a seclusion, or both. Reporting details include the following yes/no flags. So resulting injuries or death, yes or no. Untrained staff status, yes or no. Were the staff trained? Locked room status with a yes/no flag. Please note that a locked room is defined as one with a self-locking mechanism that engages without human assistance, like your front door. Seclusion rooms equipped with immediate release locking mechanisms are not considered locked rooms for the purpose of reporting this specific data element. We'll repeat that several times. So locked rooms are illegal. The ones that require magnet or human engagements to connect are not considered locked rooms. Additionally, if there's a seclusion, we have to report that the room meets standards with a yes/no flag. We also report steps taken for students with more than 10 occurrences of restraint and seclusion this school year. The steps taken code is required for students who've been restrained or secluded more than 10 times during the school year. So 11 times or more from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. You indicate the steps taken to decrease the use of restraint and seclusion. You can enter up to 3 steps taken codes from the drop-down menu. There's also an other selection in the drop-down menu. If using that, please include a comment of what steps were taken by the agency to decrease use. A problem we saw in the 21-22 collection was districts not entering steps taken upon the 11th incident. Please note the other field is monitored by ODE, and strategies utilized with occurrence counts of significance will be added to the drop-down menu feature for future collection years. So let's talk about multiple restraints in a day. Incidents close in time that are separated by periods of de-escalation must be reported separately as multiple incidents. If there were no periods of de-escalation, but multiple holds were applied during an incident, please report this as a single incident. Let's talk a little bit about other reports required. Agencies must also prepare an annual report and make it available locally. There are exceptions to this publication requirement. Agencies can suppress counts to safeguard student confidentiality as required under FERPA, the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. So for instance, ODE suppresses cell sizes of less than 6 when we report this data. So let's talk about some new fields and other reports required. If serious bodily injury or death of a student occurs in relation to the use of restraint and seclusion, oral notification of the incident must be provided immediately to the parent or guardian of the student and to the Department of Human Services. This requirement is new in addition to the already required written notification of the incident that must be provided within 24 hours to the Department of Human Services. When it comes to serious bodily injury or death of personnel, the Superintendent of Public Instruction is added this year to the list of individuals who must be notified if serious bodily injury or death of personnel of the public education program occurs in relation to the use of restraint or seclusion. The 24-hour reporting portal is located on the collection page. Additionally, written notification of the incident must be provided within 24 hours of the incident to the district superintendent, to the superintendent of public instruction, and if applicable, to the union representative for the affected party. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie, who will talk about field information.
Thank you, Lisa. Next, I wanted to go over some other field information. So the restraint flag indicates the incident involved restraint of the student or not. It's a yes/no flag. Seclusion flag indicates the incident involved seclusion of the student or not. And then the room locked flag indicates whether the seclusion occurred in a locked room. And I did want to mention that a locked room is defined as one with a self-locking mechanism that engages without human assistance. Rooms equipped with immediate release locking mechanisms are not considered locked rooms for the purpose of reporting this specific data element. And then finally, the seclusion rooms standards flag indicates the room that a seclusion occurred in meets all standards for seclusion rooms as per OAR 581-021-0568. These are things that ensure the safety and comfort of the student. Room size, sharp objects, temperature, etc. Be sure to review the OAR for the complete list. And I'll pass it back to Lisa.
Thanks, Jackie. Let's talk through field information injury flags. Senate Bill 1024 requires data collection of serious bodily injury or death while still requiring any injury associated with restraint and seclusion to be reported. Therefore, we're not terminating the original injury flags. it's crucial to maintain their historical definitions unchanged. So we'll utilize the serious bodily injury flag as a modifier. So injury to student flag indicates that the use of restraint or seclusion resulted in injury of a student. Injury to personnel indicates that the use of restraint or seclusion resulted in injury of staff member. Serious bodily injury to student flag indicates the use of restraint or seclusion resulted in the reported serious bodily injury of a student. This flag is a modifier to the injury to student flag. Same thing with serious bodily injury to personnel. It indicates the use of restraint or seclusion resulted in the reported serious bodily injury of a staff member. This flag is a modifier of the injury to personnel flag. The serious bodily injury to personnel flags are required if the incident date occurs after January 1st, 2024. So in talking through the new serious bodily injury flags, in a scenario where a staff member or student is involved in an incident and that staff or student has become seriously bodily injured, the expected outcome is to have both flags set to yes. This is because the person was injured and the incident also resulted in the modifier of a serious bodily injury. It's important to talk about the definition of serious bodily injury. Oregon law restraint exclusion OAR 581-021-0550 through 581-021-0570 defines serious bodily injury to mean any significant impairment of the physical condition of a person as determined by qualified medical personnel, whether self-inflicted or inflicted by someone else. When we teach into the serious bodily injury threshold, we use the federal IDEA definition to further exemplify the high medical bar necessary for an injury to truly qualify as serious bodily injury. And so that definition means serious bodily injury involves a substantial risk of death, extreme physical pain, protracted and obvious disfigurement, or protracted loss or impairment of the function of a bodily member, organ, or mental faculty of an individual. And that comes from the IDEA. So I wanted to, you can see that like we're fans of repetition in training. So just this room locked flag again. A locked room is defined as one with a locking mechanism that engages without human assistance, excuse me. And just a reminder that rooms equipped with immediate release locking mechanisms are not considered locked rooms for the purpose of this collection. We're hitting this one hard this year. So thanks, and do call us if you have any questions about locks on rooms. With that, I'll turn it over to Jackie.
Thank you. So some other field information we wanted to go over. The untrained staff flag indicates whether any staff member involved were not trained in an ODE approved training program. This is a yes/no flag where yes means untrained and no means trained. And then steps taken, there are 3 drop-down menus that allow the user to select from a list of steps taken by the public education program to decrease the use of restraint and seclusion for each student that was placed in restraint and seclusion more than 10 times during the school year. In other words, you can add up to 3 steps taken. And then the corresponding comment field for steps taken is optional if you select a specific step from the list. However, if other is selected, then a comment is required.
So now we're going to move into talking about our final collection, the seclusion rooms collection. The only change this year is just clarifying guidance added on which institutions to log in as, and that's been added to the manual. The collection window will open on May 16th. Districts will have until July 8th to submit their data, clear any errors, and verify their submission. The review window will open on August 15th and close on September 16th, and is an opportunity for submitters to add, delete, or revise records. Statute and rule both require an annual report on restraint and seclusion to the Oregon Department of Education. One of the minimum requirements of the annual report is the total number of seclusion rooms available, including a description of the dimensions and design of the rooms. If there are rooms designated for seclusion, public education programs must assure each room meets the minimum standards for student health and for safety. The seclusion rooms collection is the mechanism to catalog existing seclusion rooms. Public education programs must meet standards for the structural and physical requirements for rooms designated to be used for seclusion. The collection will walk users through the reporting of room attributes by asking for room counts and descriptions. Specific questions about the seclusion rooms, as required by rule, are presented to the user to answer for each room. The collection includes a roll-up feature to call forward information from previous years, allowing for annual edits and verification. This is a visual example of seclusion rooms available. This visual is meant to help users discriminate between what is and what is not considered a seclusion room. Additionally, as there are times when events do not go as planned, there is a mechanism to report seclusion events that occur in both standard and non-standard rooms. And you'll find that in field 61 within the restraint and seclusion incidents collection. So for example, in some past instances in Oregon, seclusions have occurred in classrooms or other non-standard spaces. Frequent use of non-standard spaces or reports of seclusion incidents occurring in districts without cataloged rooms may signify to ODE a need for technical assistance. If there are rooms designated to be utilized by the district for seclusion, the district must make annual assurances that each room meets standards as set forth in Rule 581-021-0568. I wanted to quickly cover what to do if you have no records to report, and that you must submit for all three collections, even if there are no discipline incidents, no restraint seclusion incidents, or no seclusion rooms. If you have 0 rooms to report, you just need to click the Verify Submission button on Status Tracking. Clicking this button lets us know that you're done and that you had 0 records to report. This screenshot shows seclusion rooms, as we don't have access to the new verification reports yet for the other collections. If you have 0 incidents to report for discipline incidents and restraint and seclusion incidents, you will approve the verification reports on Status Tracking. These reports are not yet available, but you'll click in a box next to the report name, and then you'll review the grid of data consolidated displays. Finally, you'll click the Approve Report button. This process will be repeated for each report. They are set up to be approved one at a time. Now it's my pleasure to turn it over to Jackie, who will discuss the review window.
Thank you, Lisa. Next, as Lisa mentioned, we're going to talk about the review window and its purpose. ODE will review the data submitted and prepare audits for districts to review and address. Audits may identify errors, but might also ask about a record that looks strange but is reported accurately. If you're unsure, please contact us. We're always here to help. The review window is also an opportunity for submitters to add, delete, or revise records. Keep in mind that these revisions will not have gone through the ODE audit process, so be careful, especially when adding records. Getting to the review audits is the same as review errors. You're going to hover over student collections, then hover over review discipline incidents, then hover over the flyout for error management, and then click on review audits. This method is the same for restraint and seclusion incidents as well. Remember, there will be no audit messages for seclusion rooms. In the review audit screen, you will see an audit count, which indicates how many records have the respective audit type. You'll see the audit type, which indicates the type of potential error, and then audit description will define the audit type. And a tip is you don't need to pay a lot of attention to this. Instead, you'll want to pay attention to the audit comment provided. And to access the audit and the comment, you're going to click the little triangle button in the row of the audit type you wish to correct, and which expands to show the records with that type of audit. The audit comment is a message from the special education data team indicating why the record is being flagged as an error or warning. If you're not sure what the comment means, please call a member of the data team for assistance. It's best not to just confirm it. Click on the green check mark to review the record. Once corrected, you'll click the Save and Confirm button, and this will save the corrections, and the system will remove the record from the audit list. And the last activity column will reflect the date and time the last change was made. And then please note that you cannot delete records from the review audit screen. To delete records, please go to Record Management, Record Maintenance. And now I'll pass it back to Lisa Joy.
Thanks, Jackie. Documents to assist with submissions to the Discipline Incidents Collection can be found on the collection page, which is located on the district website. There you'll find the collection manual, the header row template, and training information. Other technical assistance documents related to school discipline, positive behavior intervention, and other resources can be found on the ODE site and are linked in this slide for your reference. Documents to help with data submission for restraint and seclusion can be found in the schedule of due dates, which is located on the district webpage. You'll find the Restraint and Seclusion Incidents Collection Manual, Seclusion Rooms Manual, the file formats, and header row templates. Other technical assistance documents related to best practices in the reduction of restraint and seclusion are located on the ODE site. This includes technical assistance manuals, a list of training programs, and ODE sample forms. With that, we want to thank you for your time. We appreciate you. We also want you to know that you can contact us directly for specific questions pertaining to your institution or program. We can help with individualized situations outside of this training opportunity. We're here for you. We want to let you know on the slide, you'll also find a link for completing the collections. And with that, we will end this webinar and just say thank you.